We are what's called a regional development agency, and there's 6 agencies across the country. Our minister is Minister Navdeep Bains, who is also the Minister for Innovation, Science and Economic Development. So folks from NRC IRAP, we all have the same minister, and you'll notice over time we're seeing that our programs are starting to align a little bit more to help feed the federal government's innovation agenda. And I know there's more changes coming to some of the federal programming, so stay tuned and keep your eyes open over the coming year, because some of those changes take place in Ottawa, and it takes a while for them to roll out to us here in the West. So let me go back just real quick. What I want to talk about mainly today is the WIN program. We do have what's called the Western Diversification program, but the WIN program is really the most relevant to for-profit business. With the WDP program, we will play in the kind of tech development and commercializing new technologies, but it is targeted at not-for-profit organizations, whether that be folks like Calgary Economic Development or University of Calgary, SAIT, lots of different organizations that we have funded over time. But the WIN program in particular is the one that I want to talk about today, and that's a 5-year federal initiative. And it's a repayable contribution. So from some of the other organizations you've heard about non-repayable, this is actually a repayable contribution. Much like a loan, but like your student loan, it's interest-free, which is really nice. You can apply for up to $3.5 million of matching funds. So the trick is, on any given project, you have to match the dollars, and that means you have actual capital, something there. It's not a promise that there's funding available. You've actually either got a credit line, cash in the bank, you've got a VC, you've got something that actually says you've got the money on hand. So what we tend to see, again, is we tend to work with companies that are a little more established, that have a track record, that have been there, done that to a certain extent. It certainly is not designed to, unfortunately, help the guys working out of their garage or just got a brand new project. We send those to NRC IRAP, and they work with them right off the start, and we tend to see them after the IRAP program is finished, or the NSERC, or those kind of fundings. The other thing for the WIN program, and I'll just give a few stats here. I'll start off. I mean, the aim of the WIN program is to commercialize innovative technology-based products, processes, and services. So the key on this one is that you have your IP in place, and that you actually have control of the IP of the technology. That's a real key thing for us. We're interested in stimulating private sector investments and commercialization activities. So obviously that's why we're looking at this repayable, and it's a 50% maximum contribution. Like any good government department, we like it better when we're like 20% or 15%. The less that we are putting public dollars at risk, the more we like it. It's a competitive process. When you put your application in, you are competing against other folks. So to date, we have had 4 intakes on this program, and I can give you numbers of the first 3. So for instance, over the first 3 intakes, we received 797 applications. We approved 85 projects. So it gives you an idea of how many people we said no to. But those 85 projects certainly are doing well. We've provided $96.8 million in repayable contributions to those companies. And these are SMEs, so these are companies that are under 500 employees. Now, just to give you an Alberta flavor, we have had 261 applications submitted over those 3 intakes. 32 have been approved for a total of $28.8 million that has gone out as a repayable contribution. And what we're seeing now is, so you get 3 years to have a plan on how you're going to commercialize the technology. Our funding can pay for all kinds of things within that. The only thing we don't like paying for is hospitality. So if you're buying beer for clients and all that, you're on your own. But what we are interested in is making sure that is commercialized. And if you're going to market outside of Canada, we can pay for trade shows, we can travel, all that kind of stuff. But bottom line is that it is repayable. You've got up to 5 years after that first 3 years. So I mean, technically, you could have 7 to 8 years to pay back the money, which is pretty patient capital, and that's why it's attractive to a lot of companies, but it's not for everyone. In terms of sectors, I'm not sure what I've got for the next slide. In terms of sectors to date, 46% of our funding has gone into clean tech. 25% has gone into ICT, and then there's been a whole plethora of other things. So for those that were around, our last intake was in November of this past year. That was our intake number 4. And intake number 4 was very much focused on clean tech. It was one of our priorities. And right now, we've got, I mean, they're yet to be approved. So I don't really have a whole lot I can say about the current intake, but we've got 48 projects worth about $61 million in funding that are waiting approval, and we're anticipating that shortly. But if you think about timelines, just so you know, again, the WIN program, we're not by any stretch the fastest of an organization to work with. Typically, I'm seeing 5 to 6 months from our first expression of interest, closing, to when we actually are seeing approvals. So it is a slow process. It's something to keep in mind. And I am anticipating that the next intake will be in the fall of this year. So typically it's been every fall. There are some internal discussions going on about what we're going to fund and not. But again, I haven't heard any indications that the program is going anywhere. So again, WD, these are some of the projects. This is one of the projects that we've worked with, but clean tech is one of our focuses. So come see me. If you're interested in WIN, we'll get your name, your business card, your email address is the key, because we have a database of interested companies. When we do the call, we'll let you know. We have outreach sessions that will be sitting down and explaining more about the particulars of the project. And you have an opportunity to talk to our project officers. They can help you decide whether you want to go through the effort and cost of applying. But that's always a good business decision. Know as much as you can up front before making those calls. So now I'm officially over time. There we go. Getting the plug here. So come see me at the booth.